You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network. I'm Nicholas Callis. These are your game recaps and standing updates from Wednesday, April the 15th, 2020, Jackie Robinson Day, as a matter of fact. Starting with this interleague series, the Baltimore Orioles beat the Chicago Cubs by a score of 5-3. Kyle Hendricks now with 2 losses on the year, and Michael Givens now has 5 saves. One of our games of the day on Major League Baseball's virtual network, the Tampa Bay Rays played the Houston Astros, and the Rays came back in the middle innings to take a 4-3 lead over the Astros, a lead which they kept and won by the score of 4-3. Astros got 10 hits compared to the Rays' 6, but that one error became costly on the Astros scoreline. Jalen Beeks got the win, Urquidy got the loss, and Nick Anderson now has 6 saves as the Rays closer. Minnesota Twins and Toronto Blue Jays played each other. The Twins won 4-2. Fernando Romero, he's 2-0 now on the year. He came out of the bullpen. Matt Shoemaker got the loss, and Taylor Rogers got a save. He's now 6 out of 12 in his save opportunities. Struggled this year and blew a save earlier in the series, but got the save here. Twins scored 2 runs in the 7th inning and a run in the 8th to put themselves ahead by a large margin. AL Central matchup that featured the Detroit Tigers and the Cleveland Indians. The struggling Tigers beat the Indians by 1 run. Ronnie Garcia got the win out of the bullpen. Oliver Perez, also coming out of the bullpen, got the loss. He's struggled in his last few appearances. And Joe Jimenez, closer of the Tigers, now with 3 saves on the season. More AL Central baseball in the American League. AL Central baseball. The Chicago White Sox 10, the Kansas City Royals 7. The White Sox brought the bats out with 19 hits all in all. The Royals were able to score 7 runs in the 3rd inning, but the White Sox just put up too many numbers on that scoreline. A couple crooked ones, a 3 spot in the 4th and a 3 spot in the 8th that put them ahead and allowed them to win. Alex Colome now with 5 saves on the season as the White Sox closer. The Boston Red Sox played the Oakland Athletics, and the Red Sox continue to struggle in 2020. The Athletics won 7-4. Frankie Montas got the win. Marcus Walden got the loss. The Red Sox were making a comeback late in the game. You see there 2 runs in the 7th and 2 runs in the 9th, but it wasn't enough for them to overcome a 7-run deficit coming into that last third of the game. The New York Yankees and Texas Rangers, Game 3 of this series. Rangers now without Joey Gallo. We talked about that injury that he sustained. He's got a broken shin. He'll be out for roughly 2 to 3 months, but the Yankees able to win a game in this series. Jordan Montgomery got the win on the mound. Lance Lynn got the loss. 3 now on his season. Our other game of the day on Major League Baseball's virtual network, an interleague game that featured the Los Angeles Angels and the Miami Marlins. This was an offensive game as well, but the Marlins got late runs, and that allowed them to pull away from the Angels and win 8-4. And despite these two having the same amount of hits to end, 11 hits on each side. Eliezer Hernandez got the win. He came out of the bullpen and bailed out starter Jose Urena. Julio Teheran got the loss. He's now 0-1 on the season. Some Angels news quickly as well. The Angels have acquired Tyler Glasnow from the Rays. You can check out more information on that deal on Twitter at VirtualMLB. Moving over strictly to the National League now, a National League East matchup that featured the Atlanta Braves and the New York Mets. The Braves have been struggling recently, but were able to win here by a significant margin against the Mets. Josh Tomlin got the win. Brad Brock got the loss. He's now 0-2 out of the bullpen. Giants and Reds played each other this National League game that the Giants won 6-3. That was despite a Reds effort late to try to come back and win, but it was too little too late. Both starters got a decision. Kevin Gausman got the win, and Sonny Gray got the loss. The Giants keeping pace with the Padres in the NL West. We'll check the standings in just a little bit. Brewers and Phillies. Game 3 of this series saw the Brewers win 3-1. Anderson got the win. Velasquez got the loss. Josh Hader, one of the first closers to 10 saves this season. He's been on a hot streak. He has 10 saves now in 11 opportunities. The Pittsburgh Pirates and the Arizona Diamondbacks played each other in a game where the Diamondbacks won. Diamondbacks scored in almost each point of the game's halves. So scored in the first, scored in the middle portion in the fourth, and put up a run in the ninth inning. It was a walk-off hit. The Pirates came all the way back in that eighth inning, but couldn't stop the Diamondbacks from winning in the bottom of the ninth. Steven Crichton got the win. He's 1-0. Michael Feliz 1-2 now out of the bullpen for the Pirates. Cardinals and Dodgers played each other, and the Cardinals now have broken their losing streak with this win against the Dodgers. Kept them within limited runs, but scored a significant amount of their own. 7 total on 11 hits. The Dodgers 2 runs on 6 hits. Carlos Martinez got the win, and David Price got the loss. He's now 1-2 on the season. And NL West baseball that featured the Colorado Rockies and the San Diego Padres. The Padres continue to be on a tear and continue to lead the NL West. Matt Strahm got the win, and Kyle Freeland got the loss. Padres were propelled to this win by a 5-run third inning. Let's take a look at the standings now around Major League Baseball, starting in the American League East. The Tampa Bay Rays continue to lead the East after the win against the Astros. They're 11-8, trailed by 1 game to the New York Yankees and the Toronto Blue Jays. The Blue Jays lost to the Twins today, and the Yankees beat the Rangers. Orioles close behind as well after beating the Cubs today. They're 9-9, 1.5 games out. And the Boston Red Sox, still struggling this year, lost today. They're 6.5 games back of the division. To the AL Central, the Chicago White Sox, 13-5 at the top of the division, now on a 2-game winning streak against the Kansas City Royals, trailed by the Minnesota Twins, who won today against the Blue Jays, 2.5 games out. And this division starting to break off a bit, seeing the Royals in third place, 5 games out with an 8-10 record. The Cleveland Indians, who have been struggling recently in their last couple series, they're 5.5 games out with an 8-11 record, and the Tigers got off to a slow start despite winning their last 2 games. Tigers have lost 7 of their last 10 and are 4-13 in last place, 8.5 games back of the AL Central lead. And to the AL West, the Houston Astros, 10-8, a half game up on the division lead. Trailed by the Athletics, who beat the Red Sox today. They're a half game out of the division lead. The Rangers lost today against the Yankees and have now moved back to a .500 winning percentage. They're 9-9, 1 game back of the division lead. The Angels and Mariners close behind. 8-10 is the Angels' record. They're on a 2-game losing streak, as are the Mariners, who are 8-11, 2.5 games out. But this division right now has developed into a more tight race recently here in the middle of April. And here are the American League wildcard standings, still too close to have any significance. But if your team's not a division leader, definitively, they will land at the top of this list. To the National League, the Washington Nationals are 12-5 and continue to lead in the NL East. They're on a 4-game winning streak and have won 8 of their last 10 games. Miami Marlins a close second, a team that was projected to keep rebuilding and struggling in 2020, are not struggling as a matter of fact. In second place in the NL East, 2 games back of the Nationals, and are on a 2-game winning streak now. The Philadelphia Phillies have lost 3 straight now, all of which were to the Brewers. They're 9-10, 4 games out. The Braves, despite winning today, are still 4.5 games out of the division. 9-11 is their record. And then the Mets are 7-11, 5.5 games out of the NL East lead. To the National League Central, the Milwaukee Brewers on a 5-game winning streak have won all 3 games in the series against the Phillies. Game 4 will be tomorrow, but Brewers 12-6, definitive leaders now in the NL Central. The Cubs, who lost to the Orioles today, are in second place, now a game back of the division lead. Pittsburgh Pirates lost to the Diamondbacks today. They're 9-9 now, and the Cardinals, who beat the Dodgers today, are 9-9. Each team is 3 games back of the NL Central. And then the Reds, 6-11, 5.5 games out on a 3-game losing streak. And they're in last place in the NL Central. To the National League West, a tight race toward the top and not so much at the bottom. This division is starting to take form and starting to break apart amongst the teams. But the Padres on a 3-game winning streak. They're 14-4 after a hot start to 2020. The Giants 2 games out, 12-6. The Giants have been on a bit of a hot stretch as well. And they're 2 games out of the division. The Dodgers 9-9, 5 games out on a 1-game losing streak after losing to the Cardinals today. The Diamondbacks 9-10, 5.5 games out after beating the Pirates today. And the Rockies still stuck at 2 wins. They're the only team left in baseball with only 2 wins on their record. They've lost 6 straight now. They've lost 9 of their last 10, and they're 11.5 games out of the National League West. That's the biggest deficit to a division lead that we've seen so far this year. And here are the National League wildcard standings, and unlike the American League, this is taking form quicker than the AL wildcard standings are. So as it would stand now, the Giants and Cubs would have the 1 and 2 spots in the wild card, and then these teams are the closest: the Marlins, Dodgers, Pirates, Cardinals, Diamondbacks, and Braves. And the Rockies at the bottom of the wild card standings. They're 2-15, and they are the worst team in the National League to this point in the season. These have been your game recaps and standing updates from Wednesday, April the 15th, 2020, Jackie Robinson Day. I'm Nicholas Callis. You've been watching Major League Baseball's Virtual Network.